Ladies and gentlemen, what you guys are looking at is a guy who has 2 HBO specials, 1 Showtime special and 1 Comedy Central highlight. All recorded on my DVR at home, and I can't wait to get there to watch it. Now, I'm Chris Crawford, and it's possible that you guys do not know who I am. You've never seen my comedy, but I think we're going to have a great time. We're going to start by getting really weird. You guys want to get weird?
Yeah!
Now, you guys look at me as if you didn't grow up with Mickey Mouse. As if you haven't made that exact noise 100 times in your life. It's all right. You can admit it. It's fun. So much so that we're going to do it together. I'll hit you with a giggle. I'll say, "Ha!" And I want you to hit me with a, "Ho!" All right, here we go. You guys going to do it? You going to play along? You going to do it in the back? Yeah. All right, let's get our Mickey on. Ho! That was beautiful. You know what this means? That you have a special power? The power to make date night really interesting. The next time you just had a time of your life, you know, dinner and a movie. When he brings you home, you walk up the drive, lean in for the kiss. The moment your lips separate, hit your date with one of these. Okay, so you'll probably never see each other again. But you know, impressions, they can be a lot of fun, and I have a few more I want to show you. You see, I recently watched the Christopher Robin's movie. Horribly depressing affair. But it wasn't without its comedic relief. And it's not who you thought it would be. It wasn't Tigger. Nah, it was Eeyore. You see, when all the other characters are all, "It's dark, it's gloomy, it's cold, it's wet, never seen the sun in a week," Eeyore was there to tell him, "Welcome to my world." It sucks. Gotta love Eeyore. He's kind of my spirit animal, really. But I'm going to get off the Disney kick for a second. Because I'm going to show you something that is kind of my own. It's twisted and it's weird. This is my impression of a ninja hiding in the shadows waiting to kill you. Didn't hear a thing, you never saw it coming. Now, on a similar note, here's my impression of a mime pretending to be a statue. Or is it a ninja waiting to kill you? Either way, I'll never trust another mime, I'll tell you that much. Now, that might be a little bit too far-fetched or weird to be considered an impression, so I'm going to give you something a bit more normal. This is the very first impression I ever did, and it sounded a lot like this. It's possible you don't know who that is, so I'm going to turn away from you. I'm going to look back at you dramatically and declare, "I'm Batman." And instantaneously, you know who I am. It's funny how that works. Now, the bad thing about the Batman voice is that it sounds an awful lot like Creepy Guy's voice. You remember, ladies, the guy who tried to pick you up at the bar? He was all, "Do you come here often? Are you alone? Can I call you?" First of all, guys, if you're doing Batman voice at the club, stop it. You're ruining it for the rest of us. No, you're not going to stop. So the next time you do, if she looks at you like you're crazy, and she will, turn away from her and glance back. Look right into her eyes and declare, "I'm Batman." Maybe it'll work. No, it's not going to work. Now, the cool thing about the Batman voice is that anybody can do it. It's simply an aggressive whisper with a little bit of bass. The funny thing about the Batman voice is that even though everyone can do it, no two people sound alike when they do. To prove this, you guys are going to play along again. I'm going to count to 3. You're going to hit me with an aggressive whisper with a little bit of bass. You're going to declare, "I'm Batman." Here we go. 1, 2. You're going to be superheroes. You can do it? Say you will. You're going to do it? All right. 1, 2, 3. "I'm Batman." Yeah, you are. That was actually really beautiful. I'm humbled a little bit. You guys might be better at this than I am. So I'm going to go ahead and admit, I'm pretty new at the whole impressions game. But anything I try, I run full steam at it. I give it everything I got. And here recently, I decided to set a world record. Now I had to do some research. I opened the Guinness book, flipped through a few pages, looked down. The first thing that jumped out at me was, "The world's largest miniature airport." I'm not sure that those two phrases can even go together, but what it taught me is that if you suck at something bad enough, they'll give you a record for it. So I decided to be the world's loudest mime. I am in a box. I am pulling a rope. World's loudest mime, y'all. So the one guy didn't laugh. I'll help you out. You see, that's funny because mimes don't normally say things. Now, I've been doing comedy for a while now, and I've had a chance to perform in front of a lot of people in a lot of places. And I normally like to leave my family out of these things, but recently, my daughter said the most stereotyping / profiling thing she could have possibly said to me. It was shocking. And I started off innocently enough. I walked in and was going to try and speak to her in her own language. I was all, "What up, hey homie? What's the heck going down on Front Street? What's the 411? Yo." Man, her eyes damn near rolled out of her skull. She sighed, looked at me, and said, "Dad, you're so white." White? That's stereotyping / profiling, is it not? So I responded in the only way I could. I turned my hat sideways, and I proceeded to give her the best darn beatboxing demonstration she'd ever seen. It went something like this. Caucasian. I'm so late. Okay, so she was right. But she didn't say it in a very complimentary way. She said to me, "Dad, you're not cool," or "Dad, you're not suave," and any of those other things that white people just aren't. And it hurt. It did. Mostly because it's true. You see, no matter what you say, if you follow with the words "like a white boy" or "like a white man," it is never good. For instance, if you run a slow lane track, they say you run like a white boy. If you dance and look stupid at the club, got no rhythm, they say you dance like a white boy. Try to play basketball, they look at you like you're crazy, say mean things, like you know white man can't jump. And it's all true. But white people, you do have something going for you. You're genuinely interesting to watch. You see, you never know what we'll do. We will jump on any trend that comes along. Take tiny houses, for example. Do you guys know what these things are?
Yeah.
These are literally houses that are built on trailers. The exact definition of a trailer home. When the hell did it become trendy to live in a trailer home? Used to just be a more economic option for housing. Now we get guys out there making it cool, driving up the cost, messing it up for the rest of us. And they are confusing things. All kinds of things, like maybe security. Can you even get a policy on these things? I think not. Crook comes up, he doesn't even bother to break in, just backs the truck up, hooks it up, drives away, the house is gone. Man, life's tough for these guys. But we also, I'll tell you that it confuses weather. You see, here in Texas, we get these tornadoes, they fly overhead. They look down, just see a bunch of tiny houses. Not a trailer in sight, boys, keep it rolling. Some of you didn't get that. You see, tornadoes and trailer homes, they have this relationship. It's really negative. Trust me on that. Now, the tornado will eventually look back. It always does. I don't know why, but it looks back and sees a little wheel at the bottom of the tiny house. Takes it personal. Feels offended. So hooky U-turn, make a beeline right at the tiny home. Some little eco-friendly guy, he's going to hop out. He's white. Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? He's going to jump into his carbon footprint reducing Prius. He's going to back it up. He's going to hook it up and proceed to lay down on the accelerator, mustering all the horsepower that a Prius can muster. It's about 12. And it sounds something like this. Yeah, that's what a Prius sounds like when it's towing a tiny house. Not to be confused with the most annoying noise in the world, which thanks to Dumb and Dumber, we know sounds more like this. Now there it is, doing 20 and a 50, backing up traffic. You know, there's nothing worse than a Prius driver in traffic. It's like they're always angry. It's like they have constant road rage. You guys get road rage?
Yes.
Alright, you don't have to admit it. But we all do. We do. And I recently learned something about myself. I'm pretty tolerant of other drivers. What gets under my skin, what gives me road rage, are the other people in my own car. They make me say things like, "Don't let me come back there!" Or, "I will turn this car around." Of course, my go-to at the moment is, "I will wreck this car right now and end it all!" They don't let me drive the church van anymore. So you guys are starting to figure out I'm kind of twisted. I think I need to find out who you are. We'll do single versus married status check. If you're single, show me where you're at. Get loud. All right, how about those married people? Blow the roof off. Make some noise. And then there's the 4 people that didn't say nothing. That's all right. A lot of people don't choose to say. I'll say though, I am married. Did you know that married people have different nicknames than single people? For instance, I'm not sweetie, I'm not honey, I'm not baby, I'm not babe. Now my wife, she calls me somebody. It's nice. Of course, she never says it directly to me. She'll walk into an empty room and declare, somebody should mow the lawn. Or somebody should do the dishes. Or maybe somebody should go change that baby's diaper. And I do it all. Mostly because I love her, but at least partly. Partly because I'm a pushover. So much truth, that's what the mic brings out. Now, she loves me though, and I love her back. But you know, spouses can be pretty demanding. For instance, a while back, my wife asked me if I would care to learn a second language with her. I told her, heck no. Sounded like a lot of work. 3 days later, she asked me again, and I knew it was going to be a thing. So I told her, yeah. Would you believe that she let me pick a language? So I chose something that'd be completely viable to me here in Texas. I chose Italian. Okay, so not very viable at all, but I worked real hard at it for about a week. It was as tough as I thought it would be, so I quit. But not before I took a test. The test told me I'm exactly 1.9% fluent in Italian. I'd say that qualifies me to teach you a thing or two, give you some words to walk around with. You guys ready to learn some Italian?
Yeah!
All right, let's do it. We're going to start here. Figaro, 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 Figaro. Now, I'm not sure who or what that guy was singing about, but I'd like to believe it's that cat from Pinocchio. Maybe that's going to believe that he is singing about a kitten, emphatically. But I didn't come to talk about cats. I came to give you some words. So let's start with chow. I don't mean the dog you grew up with or the food that you ordered. I mean C-I-A-O. You see, in Italy, it means both hello and goodbye. Try that in America. Walk up to somebody, let them say hi to you. Look back at them and say goodbye. Straight jerk move, not cool, you'll not be friends. However, in Italy, you can walk up to somebody and say ciao. They'll look back at you and say ciao. Now, he could be the nicest guy in the world or a straight up jerk. You don't know the difference. It's kind of cool, kind of messed up at the same time. Let's move on to another word. Prego. Yeah, I just rolled the R, trying to sound sexy as all get up. I don't normally say it like that, though. I normally say it like this. Prego. And half the room believe I'm talking about a pregnant woman. The other half might believe I'm talking about that pasta sauce you find over in aisle 12. But you might be surprised to learn that it does not mean pasta sauce and does not mean pregnant woman. What it means is you're welcome. Now with that in mind, let's think back to that pasta sauce for a second. How it just sits there knowing it's so damn good it gives you a preemptive you're welcome right across the lip. Prego. Prego indeed. She's kind of arrogant if you ask me. But you know, I like that kind of swagger. So much so that I let it inspire my first tattoo, right across my chest. Prego. That way when I'm frolicking on the beach, I mean walking very manly with my shirt off, anybody that sets eyes on me will know that my body welcomes their gaze. However, it is possible they don't see the same sexy beast of a man that I see in the mirror every day. They may see my pale, flat chest, slightly swollen gut, read my tattoo and think, yep, prego. Definitely. Oh, man. Oh, so much about me, so much truth. Let's put it back on you guys. I think I just want to say thank you. I'm on an Air Force base talking to just a bunch of airmen. I want to thank you guys for your service and making your decision to come here and do what you do. So give yourselves a hand of. You know, better yet, you guys got a noise, right? It's like hoorah, or yay! All right, I'm going to count to 3. I want you to make your Air Force noise. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Goosebumps. It does. It gives me goosebumps. And I'll tell you why. You see, they let me hang out in the Air Force for 20 years. And I got a retirement out of it. It was a great career. But I'll tell you, like most military people, I'm not from here. When I go home for the holidays, I really have to go somewhere. And I go all the way back to a place called Cooter, Missouri. Yeah, I said Cooter. I do love being a Cooter, I'll tell you. Now, when I go home, Me and my family, we always take a trip over to the department store. The only department store in Cooter. When I say me and my family, I mean me and my family. My nieces, my nephews, my aunts, my uncles, my parents, my grandparents, my brother, my sister, my kids, and my wife. One great big redneck mecca over to the great department store of Cooter, Missouri. The last time we made such a trip, my youngest child, she began to act out. I was going to try and crush it at the lowest level. Have a conversation with her. Before I get into this, I'll tell you guys, depending on when you enlisted, when you decided to serve, you have your own world problems to think about, your own war. Mine happened to be the war on terrorism. With that came some common misconceptions. People believe that Middle Easterners raise their kids to be terrorists. That's not true. All kids are terrorists. Just in America, we like to train it out of them. Now we get back to my child. I get down about eye level. She began to make demands. Well, I don't negotiate with terrorists, so I scoop her little butt up and I'm going to take her out to the car. That's the known consequence. She doesn't like this. She's squirming and fighting a little bit. So like any good dad would, I threw her over my shoulder and I quickened my pace. Now she began to really fight. Arms this way, legs that way, really giving it to me. And I'm okay with this. But then, my child, she did the unthinkable. She cried for help. It went something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a middle-aged man in your small community. You don't know me. I'm down here running for the door with a child draped over my shoulder, kicking and flailing, and fighting for his life, talking about, help, 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 help me! Had it happened in Texas, I'd have got shot. I couldn't get out that door quick enough. I darn near sprinted across the parking lot, got to the car, opened the car door, went to put her in. She didn't want to go in. She's holding on to the door frame with all four limbs like this, and I'm pushing on her torso. Until the limbs just give out, get her into the car seat, tied her down like a darn hostage. Stand up, look around. Hundreds of spectators. Some might call them witnesses. But you know, not a single one of them challenged me. You know why? Because they know all kids are terrorists, not to be negotiated with. It's cool, you guys laugh at that and act like it's a fact, and it's kind of why I say it. But it's just not true. We do negotiate with our kids. In fact, we give them their own rules to play by. For instance, if a child were to put his arm out and run into a room and go, look up and declare, I'm a helicopter. You know what you'll tell the child? Yeah, you are. Be anything you want to be. But Lord forbid, I should put my arm out and run into a room and go, look up and declare, I'm a helicopter. People say mean things like, get away from me. Or we should see other people. Now we actually do an awful lot for our kids. We will make huge sacrifices, things that we would never choose to do. For instance, I recently watched the Pokemon movie. Yeah, I said Pokemon. Horrible. You guys remember when I thought it was dead, man. Do you remember when it took over the world, 2016, Pokemon Go? Did you play? Yeah. All right, there's like 4 people that admit to it. 80 million downloads globally, 4 people in this room. I'm not going to say that you're lying. Sure the hell I'm not going to say that you're not. I won't lie, though. I played. I'm not proud of it. And like most trends, I started about a week too late. So I had some catching up to do. Yeah, I was cheating. Cruising around my neighborhood at about 1.2 miles an hour, trying to convince it I was walking. I came to sudden stops. I backed up. I hooked a U-turn. I pointed at my phone at your house just a little bit too long. Okay, so you know what? I was not welcome. Middle-aged white man driving a busted white van. I might as well paint candy on the side. I started talking about, that's a candy little girl. Okay, that last bit was really creepy. Long story short, I was not welcome, so I quit. We'll talk about something that you will admit to. Facebook, you guys still use Facebook? Yeah. Some of it, mostly for just old people though. But I'll tell you, you can learn a lot of great things on Facebook. For instance, who was a jerk yesterday? Who's a jerk today? Who's probably going to be a jerk tomorrow? But then, there's the really good stuff. For instance, a while back, I learned that you can sell your testicles to science. $70,000 a hit. Never before that moment had I wished I had 3. Yeah, I went down there and I got paid. Some of you guys looking real uncomfortable, like I'm standing here with some kind of empty scrotum. That's not how it is, though. Nah, they offer you a prosthetic. They give you some say in the matter. So I opted for the glow-in-the-dark type. Don't get too far ahead. So there, you can see me in the middle of the night, all the lights off, cruising through the house, butt naked. Just 2 glowing orbs dancing between the legs. I ain't bumping into nothing. Life is good. Of course, the downside to anything that's glow in the dark is it requires natural light to charge. Well, fast forward a few hours and put me in my front window. I move the curtains this way, whoosh. I move the other curtains, whoosh. Yeah, they was. They're really nice curtains. I like to brag about that. And there I am, butt naked, getting my glove on, getting my charge on. And what do I see coming across my front lawn but a middle-aged white man and a busted white man doing about 1.2 miles an hour. He came to a sudden stop. He backed up. He hooked a U-turn. He pointed at his phone at me for just a little bit too long. That's all right. I knew he wasn't trying to catch a peek at me. No, he's trying to catch a peek at you. But I could tell by the size of his eyes and look on his face, he did not expect to see my squirrel. Man. Oh, we do so much for our kids. I'll tell you about my daughter's birthday party. She turned 5 years old. And when in Texas, you do as Texans do, you buy a freaking piñata. So I did, from the only decent place in town to get one. The Super Mercado. Now, having grown up in the Midwest, I thought these things would be shaped like donkeys or pigs or stars and be festive colored like they are in the cartoons. That's not how it is. I walked in and hanging from the rafters, they had Ninja Turtles, Transformers, Power Rangers, Powerpuff Girls, and even Disney princesses. Turns out, they create these things based off of characters our children have grown to love. Clearly, they're not on the same page as our European brothers. You see, they also have paper-mache characters. They call them effigies. And they beat them, they stab them, they burn them. You see, they create theirs based off of characters they hate. Armed with this knowledge, I cruised to the register knowing that I was not buying a piñata. No, I was buying an effigy. You see, I was buying Elsa. Oh, I hate Elsa. I love my dog though, so I bought the damn thing, took it home, raised it up, gave her a spin. She hit it with everything she had. She was all, gave her another shot. Sorry, you can smile, smirk, giggle, or even laugh, because you know that that's the sound that a 5-year-old little girl makes when they hit a piñata. Not my boy though. He's 14 years old. He brought the heat. He brought the hate. He was all, boom, 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 boom. I'm holding him back. He's like, boom. And I got into it. I was like, hit her again, son. Hit her again, son. Hit her again, son. And I can feel all the parents' eyes shift towards me. I realized that I was conveying a horrible message. So I started backpedaling as quickly as I could. I was all, let it go, son! Let it go, son! Let it go, son! Let it go. God, I hate that movie so much. And I'll give you one more example of something that we do for our kids. We put them in these weird clubs. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever Scouts, Scouting of America, girls that are Boy Scouts, boys that are Girl Scouts. It's weird. But the thing is we teach that we put them in there thinking it's going to teach them valuable lessons like entrepreneurship. We want them to build character. It's a thing. So what do? We give the boys popcorn to sell. Now here's the deal: it's Boy Scout popcorn season. Excitedly said nobody ever. It's $2 boxes of microwave popcorn going for $15 a hit. Not cool. We put them at the end of the row and they're knocking on doors. They don't knock on too many doors and get too many answers. Because it turns out the first guy calls the neighborhood, says there's a Boy Scout knocking. And we turn off the TVs, we shut the curtains, we lock the door, we treat them like they're the Jehovah's Witness. Like they're gonna say to you, I'd like to talk to you about your relationship with popcorn. We shouldn't be like that. With the Girl Scouts, they have the better product. They got the cookies. Man, they don't knock on doors. They put a sign in the front yard. You knock on their door. They put a bumper sticker on the back of their mom's van. And then you follow them home because somehow during cookie season that's acceptable. What lessons are we really teaching here? What we're teaching our young men is to accept rejection. What we're teaching our little girls is that they have the goods that everybody wants. Maybe we should rethink these lessons. That's all I'm saying. All right. Oh, servicemen. I'll tell you, when I joined, we'll talk about when I joined. We had my family, and you know what, as you progress in your career, people are going to ask you, they want to believe that you guys are G.I. Joes, that you are American heroes. And you don't have the heart to tell them. Keyboard warrior. Dark room, that's my life. Then they'll ask you things like, did you ever deploy? You'll say, of course I've deployed. They'll say, well, where did you go? Because that's what was asked of me. They said, well, where did you go? And I told them, I went to somewhere that was hot and nasty and horrible. They didn't even speak English there. Miami. It was rough. They put me on like the 18th floor of this hotel. Took a long time to get to the first floor of the Hilton. The Air Force deploys legitimately. That's all I'm saying. Now, of course, they had me working at night, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I wasn't quite accustomed to that because even if you are, 4 a.m. should never exist in anybody's life. Now, about day 3, somebody came in and said they had an espresso machine set up in the break room and asked me if I would care to try an espresso. I had never tried espresso, so I was like, yeah. I went in there was like 15 people around this espresso machine. They handed me a little shot glass. And like anything that's ever been put in a shot glass, immediately down the hatch. Boom! This was a mistake. Because what you don't understand is fresh espresso out of the machine comes out at about 205 degrees. So I scolded everything from here all the way down. And I knew that I done messed up because they circled around me as if to say, is he gonna die? And I went to scream. And from the bottom of everything I had, I tried. But it sounded more like, you remember that silent scream that a baby does when it's so upset it can't breathe, but it wants to cry, and it's all like, it squeaks every now and then. It's all like, that's how it went. But I didn't die. No, they actually helped me back to my work center. And I sat there, and even though I felt as if I could feel everything inside me blistering, I was effective. Spirit fingers on the keyboards all night long. I endorse it. No, I'm lying. Do not drink espresso fresh. It hurts. All right, it's time to learn a little bit more about you. We'll do, I don't know, it's football season. Let's talk about teams. All right, what do you guys like, football team-wise? Anybody football fans at all? Pats?
The Browns.
He said Pats like he was sliding through. He didn't want to say Patriots because he knew we would all boo. Everybody hate the Pats for the most part except for that guy? Yeah. All right, 1, 2, 3, let's boo. Boo! All right, who else? Browns, those poor souls. They bought all the talent in the world, can't win a damn game.
Broncos.
The Broncos. Usually good, just not this year. All right, cool, man. What about you? What are you into? What? Football team, man. What? The Raiders. All right. You like the move? The new city? Now, I think it's interesting that you guys all named tackle football, professional tackle football teams. And the reason I find this interesting is because I assume you like it because it's fast-paced and it's violent and it's hard-hitting. But if you really want to see something that's gladiator-style, blood, gore, guts, watch flag football. Intramural flag football has been deemed the most dangerous sport in America because they lead you to believe that you're not going to get hurt, that nobody's going to hit you. They have rules. These are merely suggestions. What you got to understand is, particularly on a base, intramural football, you have people who were on their starting squad the year they went to state. Then you have Division I football players that dropped out their second year in college. They are playing as if they were NFL scouts in the stands. For real. And here's the deal. There's always an ambulance parked at either end of the field. Both of them will leave with somebody in them. It'll be all wee-doo, wee-doo, wee-doo. And I didn't really know this when I stepped out there to play. I tried. I said, oh, this is going to be fun. I'll play with my squadron, fun competition. No. I played one play in one game. My only job was to get to the quarterback. I was quick. I was wiry. Not like I am now. Now, they said, the quarterback, he was down. He said, hut! Hut! We go on through. Hut! All right, so I got through. I swam. I did a little spin move. I got to the quarterback. I owned him. He was mine. He was. Damn it. And I reached out to grab this man's flag. He did not evade me. He did not spin for me. He did not run. He waited till I had all my weight committed, just like this. And then he hip checked all 5 of my fingers right up into my elbow. And what I wanted to say was, coach! Coach! I had coach! Coach! But instead, remember that silent scream? It came back. I was like, See, that's what happens when something happens and you're a man and you don't want anybody to hear you cry. Your body gives you that automatic kick. And it's like, shut up! And you're like, hoping nobody saw it. Coach put you on the sideline. He's looking at you all disappointed, like, you know what, long story short, don't play flag football, it hurts. That's all I'm saying. It's not worth it. Another topic I wanted to talk about is the difference in men and women. Because, I mean, the lines blur sometimes, but really, it's not just the obvious thing. I think what it really comes down to is what you are willing to take as a compliment. For instance, if my wife put her hand on my chest and dragged it down my body and said something to the effect of, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Man, I turned into a thumper. I'm like, I'm a good boy! I'm a good boy! I'm a good boy! But Lord forbid, I should reach out and touch her and go, who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Man, she will turn around and I won't see her for a week. No, it's facts. And when I do see her, she's going to say something crazy. And I'm going to want to come back at her. But then remember that instinct from the football game? It's there. I have it locked and loaded. I'm about to hit her with everything I got. And all that comes out is... It's not right, y'all. That's all I'm saying. All right. I think what I want to do is I want to talk about basic training. It's something that we can all remember. Most of you fairly fresh, some of you not so fresh. But I think we all have a different basic training. They say that it changes over time, and you have it softer than we did, and the people in the 70s think that we had it soft. So I'm not going to say any of that. I'm just giving you the 1996 version. Whoa. First day, we got on the plane, they bussed us over. Everybody was talking on the bus. This is what I remember. It was chattery, very nervous, very anxious. The moment we got through the gate, all of a sudden people realized it was real. It got real quiet. Right up until our destination. And I went to step off of the bus. And before I even got my foot out of the threshold, before I ever struck the ground, this is what was there. A face right here screaming as loud as it could, get off the bus, get off the bus, get off the bus, get off the bus, get off, right there, right there, right there, right there. I don't know why they talk like that, but they do. And the moment I got to the ground, both feet landed, what they said was, get off the yellow dots, get off the yellow dots, get off the yellow dots, the dots, they're yellow, you should not know if they're yellow, your feet should be on them. Yeah, they talk like this and I don't know why. Now, We're standing on the yellow dots. Everybody's got their bags in their hand. Somebody goes to put it down. Pick your bags up! All right, so now we're standing there, our arms getting tired. Somebody, they're walking around screaming, "Where are you from, boy?" And I'm all, I know they haven't heard of Carruthersville, Missouri, or Cougar, or anything around it. So I said, "Southeast Missouri, sir." He said to me, "Well, that's the funny side of town, boy!" I said, "Okay, that's still how they talk. I don't know why." So this is a running thing. They really do talk very much just like that all the time. And I don't know why. Now, they finally say, "Put your bags down." And you just hear like 2,000 clacks. Clack, 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 clack. Back them up! Put them down! Clack, 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 clack. This goes on 2 or 3 times. Pick them up! Put them down! Pick them up! Put them down! And finally they say that you can put them down and leave them down the moment that everybody in unison hits the ground and it just gets one clack. All right? So now they say, "Put them down!" Clack, 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 clack. It's less so now. The timing, we're getting it figured out. And finally it goes down majestically. One clack. Clack. Then, like 300 yards away, you hear the echo. Clack. Pick them up! And then we put them down again 2 or 3 more times, and finally you get that nice clack. In which case, they started screaming at us again, breaking us into smaller groups. They took us over, got us canteen belts. They were wet belts with a little canteen. I don't know if that's still what they use. Now we go, and they get us to the dorm room. And I don't know why they call them dorm rooms, because growing up, I don't want to say dorm rooms, I'll say dormitory. Because growing up, I thought a dormitory was like the room you get when you go to college. That's not what this is. I walked in on the left. They had restrooms. A few feet further, they had a shower room. On my right, it was B bay. A little bit further, it was A bay. And at the end of the little four-way there was our day room. There was a very angry man there. He said, "Do not go in my base! You have not earned the right to go into my base! In fact, you haven't earned the right to stand in here at all. Get on your hands and knees." Over 60 grown men got on their hands and knees. And he said, "There's a number on each wall locker. When I call your number, you will crawl to it. I will say, Alpha or Bravo, depending on the bay I want you to proceed to." He said, "You will crawl around the outside. You'll not go down the center aisle. The center aisle is God's land, and in this land I am God." And I was just like, man, this guy is really big on himself. And I wasn't like that. I was scared, like everybody else. So he called the numbers, and I remember I crawled around number 13. Very fortunate, I know. Now I get to number 13, and everybody in both bays, they're just on their hands and knees looking at their wall locker. He said, "There is a lock in the bottom drawer. In that lock is a key. In that key is a chain. Do not remove that key from the lock or the lock from the drawer. Put the key around your neck." Now, all these people are on their hands and knees facing their wall locker with the chain. Chained to them like dogs. Doggy style. Still a position that I do not like to find myself in. Facts. Now, he then says, take the key out of the lock. Turn around. There is a corresponding number on the bedpost. Touch your nose to it. It's cold. This is where you sleep. He then said, climb into the bed. Lay there at the position of attention. So there we are, laying on our beds at the position of attention. Look at the ceiling. When we got on the bus, we thought we joined the world's greatest Air Force. Now we don't know what the hell we did. We did that. All right, then he proceeded to say, "It is cold in here, and if you are cold, you're welcome to cover up. But when I come back in the morning, these beds will be made the way they are right now, and I haven't taught you how to do that, so good luck to you." And then he exited. Then, roughly an hour later, 2 hours, I don't know, we didn't have watches, they blacked out the rooms, we never knew what time it was. Somebody came in, and they had checked the canteens, realized that they were not empty. They had neglected to tell us that we needed to empty our canteens before we got into the bunks. We then had to empty them immediately down our throats, fill in our bladders. Then instructed to get back into the bed and lay. at the position of attention. They left. A short time after, these people that were laying there with full bladders began to feel the need, the call of nature, if you would. And they began to grow bold enough to get out of bed and try and sneak. They would take about 5 steps and over the intercom, "Get back in bed! Get back in bed! Get back in bed! Nobody told you you could get out of bed!" I don't know why they talk like that, but they do. At all times. Or how they even knew. But we got better at this, ladies and gentlemen. When we had to go, we figured out how to get up, walk ninja style, tiptoes, get all the way and do what we got to do. Mission accomplished. So what we learned on night 1 is we'd gotten into something crazy. But we joined the world's greatest Air Force. Well, the greatest. Now, here's the deal, is we also started our ninja training. Never before had I had to learn to walk like a ninja and be stealthy about going to the bathroom. And we felt our first real sense of mission accomplishment. Cool, United States Air Force, right? Now, I told you earlier that we have different generations and different people along the way. And the idea is, I'm going to tell you that we've become more PC. As we get to where we're at, we treat you with a little bit more respect, and that might be a good thing or might be a bad thing. There's probably pluses and minuses to both. But it echoes civilian life. And in civilian life, there is a PC for everything. There is a radio edit, usually squeaks and squawks and beeps and record skips. And that's cool. The first time I listened to Kid Rock, he's like, "You I don't know, that dude like rattled off 12 cuss words. He had to, because it was like a symphony of weird sounds. I'm down, whatever. But then there's like the TV edits, and those are really kind of wonky, because they'll be like, "Back the truck up! Shut the front door! Get the fork out of here! Put the shirt down!" But my favorite of these are the cell phone text edits. Because our favorite foul word that we use in America has been translated to duck. Just randomly, first of all, guys, if you ever see duck in a text, duck was not the word they meant. It'll usually come like this. "Shut the duck up! Get the duck out of here! Duck you, mother ducker." And that led me to wonder, I really had to wonder, how did that happen? How did it get edited to duck? A lot of people believe it's because it rhymes with your favorite word. That's not the case. What I have come to decide is that we trace it back to the very first edit I ever heard. It was Donald Duck. You see, it sounded like he just talked funny until he got heated, and then that dude would lose it. And then when he used foul language, it was all edited. You couldn't understand a word. It's like... That's all I'm saying, man. It's crazy. Now that's that really trips me out, because here's the deal: is our text replaced the word that you all guys like to use and turned it into duck, and it traces back to a Disney character, which is kind of how we got this party started. Now, it's true. Now, I think that I'm going to talk about one more thing, and it's the difference in Texas, man. Like Texas from everything else. I believe that I had figured out how to, what's the word you guys use, adult? I figured I knew the rules for grown-up people. That's not the case, man. I grew up thinking that if you and another person were approaching a glass door, the first person to get to that door opened the door and let the other person walk through. The person that was walking through freely gave you a little chin lift, acknowledging the other person's existence, and it was a show of appreciation. I tried that here in Texas. That's not how it worked at all. See, I was coming to the glass door, the guy beat me to the door. He opened the door. I proceeded to walk in. I gave him the chin lift, and I got about 3 steps past him. And then this man said something that made me want to fight. He made my blood boil with the nicest words in the world. He turned and said, "You're welcome!" "You're welcome? What the hell did you say to me?" "I'm welcome." Man, I was heated. And there was nothing I could come back with. What do? You turn around and go, "Thank you!" Hit him with the Batman. "Thank you, good citizen." I don't know what to do, but I do know this. If you don't do anything, they get to go home immediately and tell their wife that they just punked a guy out at the convenience store. Put me in my place. But what if a fight were to happen? What if something was to break out? The cops would come, they'd ask him, "How did this start?" And he would say, "I opened the door for him." And then I said, "You're welcome." They'd say, "Well, did he say thank you?" He'd say, "No." And then who's the jerk? It's me. Or if he comes to me and says, "What happened?" I'm going to say, "That man opened the door for me. And then he told me, 'You're welcome.'" Say, "Well, did you say thank you?" I'm like, "Nah." Then who's the jerk? No winning here in Texas. That's all I'm saying. It's kind of messed up. Oh man, you guys have been cool. It's been really kind of magical. I got one more thing I want to show you. We'll see if this works out. Be right back. All right. You in the back row. That's you. Back corner. Guy with the hoodie. All right, here's the deal. I have cards. I'm going to fan them out, just like this. I want you, yes, they're imaginary. Stop looking so hard. I want you to draw one. Draw it. Take it out. Good job. All right, now, I want you to look at it. Don't show it to me. Keep it just to yourself. And I want you to tell the person next to you exactly what it is. Don't say it loud. You got it? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and figure out what your card is. All right? Let me look at you for a second. I'm going to draw on this board. Let's see if we can get you. Don't blink. Look at me. All right, now you look at me. Don't blink. These are the only two people who know. I'm sorry. I got to read them. All right, I think I got you. Did everything I could to predict with as much accuracy as possible. I want you to tell me, in all honesty, is this your card? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Crawford. I hope that you had a great time. And if you did, tell everybody. And if you didn't, shut the duck up.